Greetings and welcome back to our dear students. With the fourth session of the 3Ds Max training package, I am here with you. So, we've had a general introduction to volumes, and we want to move on to selecting volumes and deselecting them, as well as shapes or anything else we have in the scene. Well, we are continuing with the same scene from the previous session. If you recall, because we needed some volumes and some lines, and I didn't delete them, so I'm continuing with them. Well, we now have here various shapes and volumes. If we click on one of them, it gets selected in the scene, meaning whichever one we select and click on it, that volume will be selected for us in the scene. But if we want to select two volumes, for example, these two, we select the first one, hold down Control, and then the second, and Control, and the third. By holding down Control, you can select other shapes. You can even draw a window to select all of them, or select some of them. How do we deselect? By holding down LT. See that next to the cursor a minus sign appears? And if I click on any of the selected ones, it gets deselected. If we want to select all, surely most of you have guessed that with Ctrl plus A, we select all. And if we want to deselect all or deselect the ones we've selected, with Ctrl plus D, of course. This shortcut doesn't work for me here because I'm using software to record video. Let me see if it works. It doesn't work very well. They are deselected with Ctrl D. If you have selected some shapes and want to select everything else in the scene, use Ctrl plus I to deselect them and select the rest. And similarly, you can use this section related to selection to select volumes in the scene. By drawing around these few shapes that are here. This section helps you select shapes in the scene. What's the first one? It's Select Object. When it's on, you can select any object in the scene by clicking on it. The second is called Select by Name, and it has an H in parentheses, which is its shortcut. We can press this, and this window will open for us, meaning if we press the H key on the keyboard, this window will open again, and you can see that all the objects you have in the scene are listed here for us, and we can select whichever one we want. And we can categorize them, and you can see that the category that is in Create is also here, and you can, for example, turn off all geometries, so that only if you want to select from shapes, you only leave shapes on, and it will bring up the names of the shapes. It brings up the shape names. Next to it, there's an eye icon, and if you click it, they will be hidden or shown in the scene. And next to it is the icon related to the shape, indicating that this name belongs to a shape. Geometry is the same. You see the geometry icon next to it. Now we don't have lights, cameras, or helpers in the scene, so it will show them if they exist. If we click Display All, it will bring up everything in the scene, including what is frozen or not, hidden or not. It brings up everything, and display none clears everything and leaves nothing. Or we can have an inverse selection, meaning, for example, if there are geometries and we select inverse, it will bring up everything except geometries in the scene, or filters that we can set ourselves. Okay, we can select a shape from here and click OK and find it in the scene. The next selection is rectangular selection region, and it's a dashed square. And you know that here, this same selection square allows me to select shapes in the scene. And there's an icon next to it that has drawn a window. It has drawn a rectangle and a dashed rectangle, and a rectangle that is on the line. If in this case I click it, that rectangle goes inside that dashed line. What's the difference? Perhaps you've guessed. If it's in a state where that rectangle is inside the dashed line, you will definitely, when you draw a rectangle here, it selects something for you in the scene that is completely within these dashed lines. Now in the scene, I am selecting, but it definitely selects only those headers or that star and that ellipse or that oval that I created in the scene for me, because the rest are not completely inside the dashed line. And if it's in this state, anything that even touches the dashed line will be selected for you. But this selection rectangle has an arrow next to it, a small triangle to its right and bottom, which indicates that it has different options, and we can select in a circular manner. Meaning I can select in a circular manner or perform my selection in a polygonal manner. I click and you can see that I can perform my selection in a polygonal manner or freehand. See, I click and I have to click and hold. I click and hold until this opens and draws the selection area for me. Or it can be in spray mode. And when you click and hold, this spray selects whatever shape it passes over. Well, we'll leave them in the direct mode. These are the selections. Next to these selections, we have three options. That these three options are very vital and important for us, and we use them a lot. One is move for moving. The second is rotate for rotating. And the third is scale for scaling, meaning enlarging and shrinking. The first one is move, and its shortcut is W. My request is that you memorize the shortcuts and work with them. And work with shortcuts. So I press W, or I select move from there. And select an object. You see that this coordinate system appears like this. Or if I select rotate, it's the same. Or if I select scale, you see its shape changes, and it shows me that it's currently in scale mode, and I can scale it. The point is that we have three axes here. When you hover the mouse over these indicators, you can feel the color changes, and also that wherever you move it, a specific color is highlighted and turns yellow. And all of these have a specific meaning and turns yellow. Whatever part is highlighted and turns yellow shows you that move, rotate, or scale is being performed on that axis. So if I bring the mouse to the bottom part, you see that X and Y are yellow, meaning it will perform the scale for me in the X and Y direction. I click and move up and down, and you see that it scales. Or if I just move it to Z, and the Z-axis is highlighted because only the Z-axis is yellow. I click and move up and down, and you see it only does this for me on the Z-axis. Or Y, the same, or X, the same. And if I move it to the center, all three axes will be affected together. It's the same in move. Look again. If I'm only highlighted on Y, then only on the Y-axis, no matter how I move the mouse. Z is the same, and X is the same. Meaning, in two axes, for example, only Z and Y are working. The recommendation is that if you want to do this, let me try it in rotate as well. So you can see that it's only rotating on one axis. Especially when rotating, try to rotate on only one axis, because rotating on two axes might bother you. My recommendation is to do these transform operations in views other than perspective. Meaning, in the viewport, in front, top, or left views. So you can see the exact value and not deviate from the exact value. But if you want to do these operations very precisely, you have a few ways. One is that we can right-click on each of these scale, rotate, or move, whose icons are at the top, and a window will open for us. That shows us that we can enter our values precisely. There's a point in this window that has two sections. The absolute mode and the offset mode. But what's the difference between absolute and offset mode? If you look closely right now, in absolute mode, we have numbers in X, Y, and Z. And in the X, Y, and Z offset, there are no numbers. You can guess here that in the left section, which is absolute, you need to enter the number based on the center of the 3ds Max space. And the center of your object is done based on the center of 0, 0, 0 in 3ds Max, which is in the middle, but in offset based on the location where the object is right now. It makes the changes, and the coordinates and displacement are based on that center of the object you have, and the centering of that volume you have is done. Look, its center is here now, and it's on the X and Y plane, meaning it's placed on these grids, and that's why the Z value is 0, meaning it has no height. If I bring this up a bit, see, the Z value changes, meaning the height of its center also moves away from the 0 level of the Z-axis. Okay, that's that, and you have the same window in rotate and scale. Very well. Now you might accidentally lose the scene gizmo, and it might fade or be removed and disappear from the scene. You need to go to View and Show Transform Gizmo. If you uncheck this, the axis will be gone. You can check it again to bring back the axis. or if you want to make its size smaller or larger. You can use the plus and minus keys next to backspace to make the gizmo size larger or smaller until you get the desired value. Okay, practice these. Practice move, rotate, and scale. There are a few other small points about these that I will explain later. And during our work, we will try to learn the points together so we don't forget them. Good luck until the next session.